Have you ever wanted to go to space? Have you ever wondered what space is like? Have you ever thought of what's going on up there and how would it feel to go on the moon? So if you're interested in space, stay tuned. This is Kids About Tech. Please like and don't forget to subscribe.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Cosmo, and I'll be your guide throughout our adventure in space. In order to get the most out of this experience, you'll need to put yourself in a place with enough light and space to walk a little. Space is waiting for us, my friend. Choose the chapter you want to explore with me. Chapter 1, ready for takeoff. Chapter 2, above the Earth. Chapter 3, on the moon. Chapter 4, the solar system. It's not... Look at the ground and move a little. There. And now, position me in front of you. We need a space where we can walk around a little bit. Space is not very far away, but it's not easy to get there. Humans began to go into space or launch engines in the late 1950s, about 60 years ago. And now, it's your turn to explore space. Oh, but wait, look up. See those clouds? They're gonna have to go away before we get our rocket off the ground. As soon as the sky is clear, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, let's talk about that rocket at your feet. At the top of the rocket is the space shuttle. In this shuttle are the men and women who travel in space. They are called astronauts. Underneath the space shuttle are the fuel tanks and engine rockets that will allow the shuttle to take off and reach space. But tell me, do you know why it's so complicated to go to space? It's because of gravity. Gravity is a force that always draws us to the ground. That's why you need rockets with very powerful engines and a large amount of fuel to go into space. Oh, look at the sky. It's totally clear. All these stars are beautiful. By the way, did you know that most stars are so far away in space that you can't see them from Earth? Why don't we go to space and try to see some more? See that orange button? All you have to do is press it to get the rocket off the ground. Starting the ignition sequence. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! Let's go! Woohoo! This is amazing! The rocket has successfully taken off. We are finally in space. We are not very far from Earth yet. Oh, by the way, you can see it if you look down. Our planet is mostly covered with water, which is why we call it the blue planet. The Earth is the only inhabited planet in the solar system. Oh, look! Do you see the space station coming closer? The space station is like a very large house that revolves around the Earth in which astronauts live and work. It's as big as a football field, and scientists spend their time working on experiments that can only be done in space. Because if we send astronauts into space, it is above all to learn new things and advance human knowledge. To operate, the space station draws its energy directly from the sun. That's right. Solar energy generates enough electricity to power life equipment, daily activities, and all kinds of scientific equipment. You see those big shiny plates on the station that look like mirrors? They are the solar panels used to recover solar energy. Oh, but look, one of the panels is broken, and an astronaut came out to fix it. Do you see him? He's wearing a suit that protects him from the cold and allows him to breathe, because there is no air up in space. The suit is connected to the space station by a cord, because there is no gravity in space and everything there floats. This is called weightlessness. let's leave this astronaut to work and continue our exploration. Now, if you look around here, you'll see a communications satellite. We call satellite everything that revolves around a planet. Artificial satellites are devices launched into space by humans to send information about the Earth. For example, telecommunications satellites allow people on Earth to watch television or make phone calls. But the Earth also has a natural satellite. The satellite you see at night when you look up at the sky? It's the moon! By the way, would you like to go see it now? Or would you rather go later? It's up to you. We're in no hurry, you know. Press the orange button to go to the moon now. But it was not until July 21st, 1969, that astronaut Neil Armstrong, after 4 days of space travel, was the first to set foot on it. Since then, only about 10 astronauts have traveled the 380,000 kilometers to reach the moon. But what did they find there? From the moon, they witnessed a beautiful spectacle. The Earth illuminated by the sun, and a sky that is always pitch black, since there is no atmosphere. The surface of the moon is covered with craters, because since its origin, it has been bombarded by rocks from space called meteorites. On the ground, there is a dust called regolith. As you can see, the astronauts left their footprints there. And since there's no wind, footprints don't fade away. To land on the moon, the astronauts used a small device, the Lunar Excursion Module. They were able to come out with their spacesuits that allow them to breathe, because there is no air on the moon. And since gravity is very low, astronauts feel very light despite their heavy equipment. Oh, look! One of the astronauts is returning from an expedition with his vehicle. He brought back moon rocks with him. It's by studying this particular rock that scientists were able to know the age of the moon, about 4 billion years old. We believe it formed after the collision between Earth and another planet. But wouldn't you like to know more about our solar system and the planets that make it up? Press the orange button to discover the solar system now, or the blue button to stop exploring space and continue later. And here is an overview of our solar system. As you can see, all the planets that make it up revolve around their star, the Sun. The Sun is a yellow star. It's a huge ball of molten gas. It's 110 times larger than the Earth. On the Sun's surface, the temperature is 5,500 degrees, but it reaches 15 million degrees at its center. The majority of living beings on Earth derive their energy directly or indirectly from the Sun. Without the Sun, there would be no life. Now, with your fingertips, you can touch the planets you want to learn about. This is our planet, Earth. It is the only planet in the solar system where there is life. Unlike other neighboring planets, it is neither too hot nor too cold, as it is at the right distance from the Sun. And there is also a lot of liquid water on Earth, which is important because all living things need liquid water to survive. Ah, you see that little ball that rotates around the Earth? It's the moon. The moon is our closest neighbor in space, and it's the only celestial object that humans have ever visited. For now. This is Mars, known as the Red Planet. It is about half the size of the Earth. A long time ago, Mars was warmer, and there was even water on this planet. So there may have been life on Mars. That's why scientists would like to know more about this planet, and even hope to visit it someday. The problem is, even though we know how to get to Mars, we don't know how to get back yet. Because even though the Red Planet is our closest neighbor, it is still 78 million kilometers from Earth. It would take us between 6 and 9 months to reach it. While waiting for men and women to be able to travel to Mars, we are sending robots to explore and study this planet. This is Mercury. It's the closest planet to the Sun. Mercury is very hot on one side and very cold on the other. It's a planet mainly composed of metals and has no atmosphere. In other words, there are other, more welcoming places in space. And because of its very particular way of orbiting the Sun, one day on Mercury equals 176 days on Earth. And that's a long time. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system. It's famous for the gigantic rings that surround it, which are made of pure ice. But even if it's beautiful, Saturn is not a very welcoming planet. The temperature is minus 143 degrees, and at the south pole of the planet, there is a never-ending hurricane that covers an area larger than the United States. On another note, the lightning that strikes on Saturn is 1 million times more powerful than the type on Earth. Well, maybe it's better to visit other planets, right? This is Jupiter. It is a huge planet, the largest in our solar system. It is 11 times bigger than the Earth, and it has more than 70 moons orbiting around it. Yes, Jupiter doesn't do things halfway. This planet is what we call a gas giant. A gas giant is a planet that is not composed of rocks or other solids, such as Earth, but of gas. So it's not a planet you can walk on. In our solar system, there are 4 gas giants: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. This is the 8th and last planet in the solar system, Neptune. Neptune is an ice giant with 14 moons. Like Saturn, Uranus, and Jupiter, Neptune has rings. There are 5 of them, but we don't know what they're made of. Pluto. Until 2006, Pluto was considered the 9th planet in the solar system. But in reality, it's a dwarf planet. To compare, even the smallest planet in the solar system, Mercury, is twice as big as Pluto. In our solar system, there are 4 other dwarf planets: Ceres, Eris, Makemake, and Haumea. But they're not as famous as Pluto.